Hey everybody, and welcome back to What the Fact. I'm Aaron, this is Katie, and now we're going to continue our tour of 2018 battlegrounds. We're going to be doing this every week between now and Election Day. This week we're going to Texas. It's a state Democrats have hopes to have a Senate pickup in 2018. It's not a long shot, but it is a tough race. Beto O'Rourke is running as the Democrat, raising a lot of money from small individual donors, not taking big PAC money. He's up against Ted Cruz, who obviously is a national figure, ran for president in 2016. In a fairly red state, it's an uphill battle, but Democrats think they have a chance. And so we're going to look at a pair of claims, really centering on one of the big issues in Texas. Obviously, it's a border state, immigration. And so both candidates are making a lot of claims about this, some more right than others. We're going to take a look at first on a claim from Ted Cruz, who's talking about Beto O'Rourke saying he wants to abolish ICE, the Customs Enforcement Agency. Is that true? Let's find out.
Senator Ted Cruz is facing a tighter than expected race for his seat in Texas, and he's going negative against his opponent.
Not even Nancy Pelosi is open to abolishing ICE, but Beto is.
Let's fact check that. There's a little context we should add here. It's true that Beto O'Rourke said he was open to getting rid of ICE, but only if its responsibilities were shifted to other agencies in the process. But when he was asked about abolishing ICE as a single action, O'Rourke said no, he wouldn't support that. Instead, he talked about abolishing certain tactics the agency uses. So it's accurate to say Beto O'Rourke is open to abolishing ICE, but there's some critical context missing in Cruz's claim.
All right, Katie, so Ted Cruz is someone we fact-checked a lot on the Truth Meter. His record isn't typically that good. In this case, though, he ends up getting a mostly true rating, claiming that Beto O'Rourke is open to abolishing ICE. I assume that word open is a big part of how we got to that rating.
I think it is, because you could argue he's just as open to keeping ICE in operation. And I think that the missing caveats in Cruz's attack is that Beto O'Rourke has repeatedly said he doesn't want to just abolish enforcement of immigration laws altogether. And I think some people kind of confuse what abolishing ICE would actually mean. So here, he was asked flatly whether he would abolish ICE, and he said no. But he did say he doesn't know enough about how those duties would be transferred. You know, he's always said he needs to see more details. He said he understands the urgency of this. This is as recently as July 2018. He was quoted at a campaign stop talking about this. But he's certainly open to another way to rethinking how ICE works, and particularly the Trump administration's enforcement of admissions along the border. He has been very vocal against ICE tactics in detaining families, separating families, etc. But he said he wants to make sure that all laws are enforced. We want to make sure laws reflect who we are. And he did say that we change those laws to make sure that we make the most out of all of us, then I'm open to that. So he did use the word open to it, but he's not exactly calling for it, which I think could get lost with some people who are hearing Cruz's attack. All right, let's move on to another one. This time,
yeah, from Beto.
Yep, this time O'Rourke's on the Truth-O-Meter. Now, this is something he has said, he's on the record as saying like a bit ago, but we were still very curious because we've fact-checked claims that terrorists are capable of entering through the southwest border many times. And O'Rourke made an interesting claim that we needed to check out. So he said, precisely 0 terrorist groups, or terror plots have ever been connected with the U.S.-Mexico border to do harm to people within the United States. Now, this is a very familiar topic for us. We found 9 past PolitiFact fact checks of border terrorist claims that did not prove accurate, coming largely from Republicans. But we did also check a claim in PolitiFact Florida a few years ago that found mostly true that U.S. Customs and Border Protection had apprehended several members of known Islamist terrorist organizations crossing the southern border in recent years. So you have to be careful about how you're framing this issue, and here O'Rourke is not so careful.
Yep, I think just like as we talked about Ted Cruz carefully using the word open to abolishing ICE in the previous fact check, here Beto makes a mistake of being so precise when he says precisely 0 terrorists or terrorist groups have attempted to infiltrate or connected with U.S.-Mexico border and attempting to do harm. Broad view. The U.S. government generally says that they are not aware of any organized efforts by terrorist groups that cross the southern border into the United States and do harm to the United States. If you look at most of the history, you will find very little or no attempts in which the southern border was kind of the point in which people tried to cross to get in to do harm to this country. However, saying precisely zero is precisely wrong. That's going to do it for What the Fact for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we imparted some good factual information, I hope.
I hope so too.
And we're going to do it again next week. So until then, I'm Aaron and this is Katie. See ya.